Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 63 of the Inventive Marketing Club. We're here every week to help you build a better marketing strategy. Today's topic, we're going to be looking at a Google SEO case study. So we've actually got Abby Unwin on from Abby Jane Coaching. So she is on to talk about how she attended a workshop a couple of months ago. And she actually contacted me through LinkedIn and said she's jumped from page 15 on Google to page 1 in under a month by following the tips in my workshop. And I'm like, that is brilliant. You've got to come on and tell everyone about how you did that. Prove that the things I actually say do work. So Abby, hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm kind of glad it's the end of the week. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I was just telling Abby I've got some building work on the weekend. I'm looking forward to a bit of physical exercise. That's good. Abby, do you want to just tell everyone a little bit about your business and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me on. It's
Pleasure.
really nice to be here on this lovely sunny day. So yes, my name's Abby Unwin. I'm a life and career coach based just outside Bristol. I provide life and career coaching for individuals who want to make changes in their personal or professional lives. So my role is to meet with people either face-to-face or online, which is great because that means that I can coach somebody anywhere in the world. And I currently have people in Belgium and the Netherlands coaching, as well as the UK. So in that sense, COVID has actually benefited my business really, because before COVID, I wouldn't have even dreamt of coaching anybody online. It just wouldn't have even entered my head really to think to do that. But it actually works really well. And now I think you can coach somebody just as effectively online as you can face to face. So yes, I coach people either online, face to face, with changes they want to make. And it can be small things, it can be quite major life changes, but whatever.
Could you give some examples, perhaps?
Yeah, so several of my clients come to me with career change ideas. So often people may have worked for several years in one role. They may have left school or university and just kind of followed a path without really thinking about it. It was maybe a subject that they were good at, or they just kind of got on a course because it was in a certain city that they wanted to go to. There wasn't really that much thought, but they've done well and they've progressed and they've got to a certain level. So perhaps earning quite good money, quite settled in their role, but it's just not really giving them that sort of satisfaction that they're looking for. And there's a feeling that there's something missing, and the money, or the flexible hours, or the profession just isn't really enough. But often people don't really know where to go at that point, and feel a bit stuck and a bit lost, sometimes at a bit of a crossroads. And maybe they've read a career change book or done some Googling online about how to change jobs in midlife, but don't really know what to do from there. So that's where I come in and help them to break down their goal into small steps and look at what actions they can take to push themselves forward, and to actually make a change rather than feeling unable to because they feel maybe too old, or it just feels too overwhelming. So to break it down and to work with a coach can be really life-changing. So yeah, it's a great job. I love doing it. I work with all sorts of people from all kinds of backgrounds. Yeah.
How did you get into it?
So I started off my career with DWP, the Department for Work and Pensions. I came out of uni, I did an English degree. Didn't really want to be a teacher, but didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I ended up going into the civil service, and spent 6 years there as a employment consultant, helping people to move into work and breaking down barriers if they've been unemployed for a very long time. And then I moved into the voluntary sector on a government contract, but working more closely with people to break down their barriers. So perhaps people with disabilities or health conditions, drug, alcohol problems, homelessness, lots of different things that were preventing people from moving into work. And I did a lot of training with the DWP work psychologists around reasons as to why people weren't working, and often they were quite complex. So that was my background, and I spent 15 years in employment coaching people. And then during COVID, of all times, I decided that I wanted to become self-employed and be able to have a bit more control over who I coach and the way that I do it, rather than being confined to government contracts, which are often quite, well, there's just lots of red tape, really.
Yeah, quite rigid, I imagine. Although useful for people, but yes, quite rigid in how you have to work.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Any goals for the future?
To do more of what I'm already doing. I currently work part-time for a Bristol charity, as well as coaching. So I would like to be able to increase my client base and become a full-time self-employed coach. I'm hoping to do that next year.
Well, hopefully the optimization that you've done on your website will help you along that path.
Yes, indeed.
I want to just quickly talk about Cool Ventures first, because that's kind of how we met on a Cool Ventures workshop. I was delivering an SEO workshop. When was it? It's a couple of months back now, wasn't it? That's a while ago.
Yeah, start of July.
And I mean, I've delivered a lot of these workshops for various different government-funded programs. A lot of them run through growth hubs, so all around Gloucestershire, Stroud, Cirencester. But Cool Ventures is actually very similar in the sort of pot of money they're drawing from, but it's quite a different approach, and I really like their approach. And they work in the Bristol, Bath and South Gloucestershire area. I think that's what they cover. And it's just a really nice small team with they bring together lots of other trainers. I'm one of them, and we just deliver workshops for people. I think there's some one-to-one as well. I mean, you're working with Cool Ventures. What's your experience of going through? How have they helped you?
They've been brilliant. I've actually, before I signed up with them, I referred lots of clients to them to get help with their own business ideas and starting up. And then I realised actually that I could get support from them too, because I'm a South Gloucestershire resident, and why was I referring people without thinking about myself? So I went online. And looked at some of the free workshops that they were running, and they looked awesome. And yours was actually the first one that I've been on, so I've got some more booked in for the months ahead. But yeah, they've been fantastic.
Yeah, they cover lots of different areas, and I think they've got a very friendly team, very friendly approach. Some of the bigger growth hubs are good, but I think they're a bit more business-like in the way they approach things. And actually, that sounds wrong. It sounds like Cool Ventures isn't approaching it in a professional way. They are. It's just more informal and friendly, and I think actually quite approachable for a lot of businesses. And I really like what they're doing. Yeah, really good. So really useful for anyone who is looking for additional help and support. I mean, all of this is completely for free. You don't have to pay for it. It's all funded up to I think they want about at least 3 hours of your time to commit to it, but you can get a lot out of it. And I think for certain people, they even offer one-to-ones as well, incorporated in that. But once you're on their newsletter list, you can attend as many webinars as you like. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I think I've been told that I can have one free one-to-one business coaching session, but I was advised actually to do as many of the free webinars first, and then kind of see where it is that I really need that one-to-one support, so that I really make the most out of that business coaching session. So that was really helpful to know, actually. So
that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, until you've consumed all of the others, and then you've got some very intelligent questions for specific things you want clarity on. Yeah, it's great. I recommend anyone check them out, along with the other growth hubs as well. But certainly if you're in that Bristol, Bath and South Gloucester area, it's worth checking out. Okay, let's move on to you. So you went through the workshop, and you obviously took away some things that work for you. Do you want to are you able to set the scene? So here's your website and bring it up. Obviously, this is your current website. Are you able to set the scene of where your website was before you made all the changes?
Yeah, so I had always believed that my IT skills weren't very good. So I was coming from a place of quite low confidence and didn't feel that I had very much knowledge. But I knew that I needed to create a website. So a couple of years ago, I signed up to WordPress and surprised myself by creating a website, which actually was okay. It was getting me business. I was paying Google to advertise.
All right, okay.
Every couple of months when I needed some new clients to come in, I would pay Google to advertise my website, which worked pretty well. I was getting quite a few new referrals coming through, and I was...
Oh, that's good to hear, because some people don't
Yeah.
have so much success with that, so that's great.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, no, it did work really well for me, but there were two things that I wasn't really very happy with. The first was just I felt my website was a bit boring because I didn't really have a very good understanding of, I guess, the functionality of WordPress. I felt that it was a bit basic, so it wasn't really something that I felt particularly proud of, but it was functional. And also paying Google to advertise was getting quite expensive. And I know from my own personal experience that when I Google something, the paid ads come up and they come straight up. So they do get your attention, but often I will scroll down to the first organic, or the first sort of 2 or 3 that come up organically, because it feels like somehow they have a bit more integrity to them.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that.
Ah, okay. So that was what I wanted to achieve, and I think that's actually what pulled me to Cool Ventures originally, because I noticed that they had a session on SEO. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go and see if there's anything that I can learn, but didn't really believe that I was going to be able to understand it or do anything to really make a change.
Right, but you thought, well, I'll go along and just see what I learned from it, what I can take from it. Maybe something will work. Okay.
Yeah.
So coming to the workshop, you're a bit apprehensive about what you could achieve, but tell us some of the things that did jump out to you and you were actually able to take forward as actions.
Well, there were loads, absolutely loads. The workshop was brilliant, and afterwards, Claire very kindly sent through a recording, so I was able to kind of go back through the recording, pause bits, use the notes. So I did it in a step-by-step way. To start with, I just made some easy changes first. I guess that's the benefit of being a coach, that I can do a bit of coaching on myself and think, right, let's start off with some small steps, some easy things that I know I can do. So straight away you went through my website and noticed some things like the menu wasn't all on one line, that I didn't have my address or phone number, and I didn't really talk about my location very much.
Yes, I remember that now. So tell me about the menu. What was I can't remember what the menu looked like back then.
I can't actually remember. I think it just I think it went down to sort of 2 pages, and when you first clicked on the home page, it just looked a bit higgledy-piggledy.
Right.
And you advised that it would be much better if it was all on one line. So I just kind of changed that round and realized actually that's a really easy thing to do on WordPress. But it was just something that I hadn't really noticed because I didn't really think that was important, but actually it is, because it's the first thing you see when you click on it.
Yeah, you want it to look professional and neat and you know, like an approach that you would have, being professional. And also you were saying about the location. Yes, I remember you didn't have much on there at all about that. You were talking about what you offer, but nothing about where you're based really. So where did we didn't have anything on the page at all on that?
No.
I think there was a little bit, but so what have you done to improve that then? How have you worked in the location?
So I put in, basically just kind of added in reference to Bristol. I picked the keyword life coach Bristol. So I just went through the text that was already on there and tried to incorporate either Bristol or Bath, or you also said different areas of Bristol. So I think if you scroll down on the testimonials, you'll see that a lot of them lived in Bristol. So I put actually places within Bristol, which you suggested, to just add in more and more location factors to that landing page.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good way of getting locations on there, is to put the location on a testimonial, because people live in lots of different places. And particularly a business like yours, you are going to have a lot of local custom, even if you work with people remotely. So it's a perfect way of getting not only the keyword Bristol in there, but also that local area. And it makes it more genuine, because it is.
Yeah.
So that's a very good idea. Brilliant.
And then I also thought about the fact that I'm on Google Maps and Google Business, so I added in that at the bottom as well, a link to Google, and put my contact details on there as well.
Yeah, great. And let's just jump back to that keyword. So I think that was something else we talked about, is that your website didn't have a focus really on a particular keyword.
No.
You know, when someone, because if you want people to find you when they type in Bristol Life Coach, you've got to have that on your website. Otherwise, I mean, there are ways of doing it without having it on your website, but it's hard. And really, if you've got that text on your website, you've got more chance. It's particularly if you are talking about Bristol and life coaching and the variations on those words. And that's something we definitely talked about, is having that focus keyword for the page you want to be found, and not trying to muddy it up as well, and having too many keywords on the page and making your page so broad that it can actually cover lots of different areas, trying to make it quite niche. So in doing that, did you have to add a lot more text to the website? I don't remember how long your page was, but did you have to add a lot more to it? Or you know, how did you incorporate more life coaching words within the text?
So I did add more to it. It was there was a lot less text before, but I remember you talking about that and reassuring us that that was okay, as long as it was interesting and that it was broken up with photographs or videos. It was actually a good thing for people to spend more time on your page, to make it more interesting, and that you wanted people to be staying on there. So I think before I was perhaps nervous of having what I felt to be too much information, but actually after doing the workshop with you, I realized that there was far too little on there. So I added in lots more, and just kind of also just sort of looked at competitors' sites, and I actually
before you jump onto the competitors, because I think that is a key element, can you just say why you were nervous about putting too much content on there? What did you think? Did you think that would have a negative impact, that would put people off?
Yeah, I think yes. I thought people might just think, oh, this is, I don't want to spend ages
too much, can't be bothered to read it. It's interesting that I think that again is something that a lot of people think, because they think, well, people are time pressure, they just want to get on and find some information. But you know what? When people are, once you've got their attention, sure, that you need to get that over, that message across quite quickly. But once people are interested, they probably want to do some research, and they probably want to find out who you've worked with, why you do what you do. So having all these testimonials are brilliant. Not only do they add the word Bristol in and local areas, but you've got loads of testimonials saying how good you are. And so people can actually get a feel for what you do and how you help people through these testimonials. So I'd imagine that people, when they see these, they'll actually spend a lot of time on these testimonials. And that's what will help convince them that, you know, you can actually help. I think it's valuable. Right. Sorry, I stopped you. You were going to talk about competitors, which I think is so important.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that you suggested to do first, actually, to do that competitor research. So I looked at some competitors both in Bristol and London. Actually, I found somebody who was coming up first for Life Coach UK, who was based in London, and that was a really interesting one to look at. And I kind of went through and just sort of noted down how many times they had London or UK, how they had kind of referred back to that, and put in little kind of buttons to say find out more about life coaching, but just really simply, and then added in London.
Yeah.
And just little things like that that gave me ideas. So I kind of went through mine and put in my links, find out more about life coaching in Bristol, or Bristol and beyond, so that it made it clear that it wasn't just in Bristol, but just to add that word in, and kind of rewrote the text to include the locations and the keywords.
Yeah, that's great. So should we have a quick look at that process? So you bring up Google, here we are, and we type in a phrase you want to be found for. So I put Bristol Life Coach in. Obviously, we've got a lot of the gubbins that Google puts above that, and it will depend on what the phrase is. Because this is a local search, you're going to have the local map pack in there, and a lot of the Google business profiles will show. So we skip past that. Sometimes you'll have ads as well. Ads will show in different places. So skip past all of that, and we need to get to these. And what you would do is take the first one here and click through, have a look, see what they're doing. I'm basically saying, well, do I like the format here? What are they doing well? What can I do better? I think that's always a key one. And yes, that sort of process, isn't it? Just going through these particular ones. Now, did you look at these competitive pages, or were you just looking at ones for Life Coach? I think UK, you said.
Yeah, so I started off doing that, and then I did look through the local ones as well, and it was just really interesting to see what other people were doing, and just that idea of, you know, you want to be doing something better is quite a challenge, but you gave us some really good places that we could go to find out more. So things like looking at Google Trends, about finding out the keywords. I found that really interesting, and things like using topic rich, all those things I had no idea about, but actually really interesting and really useful to know. So you feel like you're a bit more equipped with an understanding of how it works before you start making changes. Yes.
You mentioned topic rich there. So did I mention quite a useful tool for helping? And by topic rich, what I mean is when you have a website page, so it's all focused on Bristol Life Coach, for example, you don't want it to be so narrowly focused, just talking about Bristol Life Coach, and it's a bit too over optimized, shall we say. It looks like you've done it deliberately, which we know you have, but to Google and people reading it, it's going to feel wrong. And by making it topic rich, it's about bringing other words that you can use as an alternative just to Life Coach, or like you saying with the areas, just having different areas within Bristol. So it looks more natural and organic the way it's been written. Did I mention a tool? Because there's a couple of different tools that I would use.
Yeah, you did. I've got it here. So I printed it out. I went on to
remember it. Text
optimizer.
That's the one.
And I think first of all I scored something like 40%. And it's brilliant. It comes up with all the examples of words missing in your text. So if you put in what did I put in? Life coaching. It brings you up all these different words to add. So for example, on here I've got things like coaching business, personal coaching, coaching courses, coaching tools, wellness coach, online coaching, training and coaching and mentoring. So it brings you up all these different words, and then you can kind of think about how you can add them into your text. So I spent quite a lot of time adding things, going back in. My score went up to 62%. So there's still
now it's up to 71. So that's really good. Yeah, you've improved.
That's good.
I really like this tool, and it's free. You can sign up and get a paid version, but actually the free version is great for most people. What I really like about it though is these panels on the right hand side. So the text above this says, what is your text about from a search engine perspective? And it gives 3 boxes that hopefully should line up topically with what your website is about. And so the first one is life coaching. So that's great. Life coaches and coaching programs. I mean, you may have information about that, but the first 2 are bang on. And that's really important because it's not just about keywords anymore so much with Google. I mean, keywords are important. It's about topic and how you fit within these topic buckets, and making sure that either your website, your page actually fits neatly within that topic bucket is good. So that's why I think these are really useful to check that you do fit within these topic buckets, because that's how Google's going to see you. And then, as you mentioned, it gives you loads of additional words that you can add in, which are relevant to that. So I'm glad you like that. It's, you know what, I find it really helpful because a lot of people get stuck on what to talk about. And like, I don't know what to write. By doing this, it gives you loads of additional words, and you go, oh, actually, yes, I should talk about executive coaching, or I should use this word in here. And it stops you also using the same words over and over again, which can look it can not only look wrong from Google's point of view, but it doesn't read so nicely. I think if you have nice, slightly different words that mean the same thing, it makes it more interesting to read and more useful to them, as well as helping it optimize.
Definitely. Right. I think it helped keep me focused as well on things that I can do to just make improvements all the time. And it was going back in and out and adding more topic rich text that pushed me from page 15 slowly up to page 1, as well as some of the other things that I was doing. But that seemed to have quite a big impact on how I was coming up on the searches.
That's good. And let's have a quick look at that. So if we go to Bristol Life Coach, and you said you're on page 15, you're on page 1, but not only page 1, you are position 4, which is brilliant.
I still can't actually believe it.
I think that's brilliant, because you've a lot of people might just do a bit of a half-hearted effort in terms of SEO, and they'll maybe put a few keywords in there and expect it to work straight away. But you've done the right thing. You've gone all in and sort of researched your competitors. You've looked at additional words to put in, and you've put a lot more copy in there. And I not only think that's going to help you from an SEO perspective, but your customers will find it more useful because you've got all your information on there. What I was going to ask is, have you got any new business now? I mean, it's only been a month, I know, but have you started to see new business coming in from the work that you've been doing?
Yeah, I've had a lot more contacts from people within Bristol. I guess because I've optimized it for Bristol Life Coach. That's the idea. But
it's doing the job, yeah.
Yes.
And so, if you wanted to expand that out, what sort of what content could you put on the site if you wanted to get people in London, for example? Or how would you might sort of use the same ideas to expand out your reach?
I guess, yes, just picking slightly different keywords, looking at competitors in those areas, and seeing who comes up first on searches for things like UK life coach or remote life coach. I think it would be a case of following the same process and formula and just working through the same steps. I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. The key thing is to make sure you do them on separate pages. So obviously you've done this on your homepage, which works well. But if you were to start adding on other words for different areas on here, it's going to start diluting this. So it's about looking at maybe replicating this idea, but making it for London life coach, or as you say, remote life coach, and making completely separate pages, but then tailoring those pages to the keyword. So you've got a few London testimonials on here, I noticed, or there was one I noticed here. So obviously Victoria, she would go, you'd move that testimonial on there, and you probably wouldn't, and Paul, you'd have him on there, but you probably wouldn't have some of the Bristol ones on there. And you'd start to then have more locally relevant pages and using testimonials for that. You might have some of the copy you've got here, you might want to repurpose it, but rewrite it a little bit, and obviously use the words London or remote in there. Just being conscious not to have, I guess you can get into the position of having a lot of pages that are very similar, and it's considered duplicate content. And what's going to happen with that is that your homepage will always feature, because they'll consider the other pages so very similar to the homepage, it'll always show the homepage. So it's something that can work really well. And I was actually researching a drain company or drain companies the other day, looking at different areas, and you could see one drain company, they would have separate pages for Reading, Oxford, London, and so on, all very similar, but different enough in their copy, using different testimonials, different images on there, and so on, just to make those pages different enough they weren't seen as duplicate content. So it can be quite a little bit tricky, because you've got to think a little bit harder, because you've got this lovely writing on here, you can't just copy and paste it. But I think that can work really well, and then you can start getting picked up for those different keywords. Obviously London's probably a little bit more tricky to rank well for that, but hey, you've gone through the techniques, they could work well. Anything else that you learned from the workshop going through? Anything else that you found was really useful that you've put into your site?
There was so much. I did write a few ideas down before I came on, because I wanted to remember everything. Oh,
did you use Yoast at all? I can't remember if were you using that before?
No.
So
I added that. And that was brilliant.
Yes. So Yoast is a WordPress plugin, for people that don't know, that allows you to change a lot of key variables that you need to update for if you want to optimize your site, like the title, the description, and there's tons of other stuff it can do as well, but they're the key things I use it for. Oh, that's great. Yes. I'm glad you started using that.
Yeah. So that was a really big help as well, adding that. I also found the idea that you talked about, the hub and spoke idea. I didn't really understand that idea, that you have a kind of central page and then lots and lots of little pages coming off it, but they all link back together. So my website didn't have any internal links really, and it didn't have any external links, so I added in lots of those as well to make it much more connected, and have that idea that people could click here and then come back, or click over here and then come back, to keep people on the page for longer, but also just to make it again seem more professional and more interesting. So
yeah, that's interesting you did that. We actually talked to Chris Richards. He's my SEO guru, so whatever I know, he knows a lot more. So we were talking to him last week actually about our own website. And that's one of the key areas that we need to develop. We've got a little bit of it, but actually it's quite hard to come up with your landing page, then come up with all this really good content that sits around it, talking, in your case, about life coaching or career coaching, all those different things. but it can be so worthwhile. What sort of content did you put in place to do that? You've got a blog here. Did you write anything? Was there anything on that?
Yeah, I didn't have a blog. So again, that came from doing the workshop with you. The idea around finding keywords and then typing in things like, how do I find a life coach, or what's the difference between a life coach and a counselor? Like different sorts of keywords. I remember you saying we'll give you, Google will throw back at you all the different things that people search for, and then that gives you ideas for writing a blog. And it's something, again, I knew that I needed to do, but I didn't really understand how to go about doing that. So yeah, this is all new. I didn't have any of this stuff on there before.
Yeah, it's great. And then you've got this link through to your consultation. Do you have a link on this blog, Asker? I was just going to check. You were talking about links and making sure things link back. Obviously, this is very relevant. What does a life coach actually do? Do you link back to your homepage on this? Because it could be worth linking from here, life coaches. So that link there is in the first paragraph. Well, it's in the second paragraph. Perhaps you could do that one. But it'd be worth trying to link on a word that is either an exact match, life coaching, or something similar.
Okay.
In the early part of that blog post, back to your homepage, because then your homepage is actually quite a powerful hub page, and so having all of these blog posts that you've written all pointing back to it within the text, because obviously they do on the blog page here. We've got a homepage link, so all of them would naturally link through to home. But having them link through on a link like that will be really good.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. I'll add that in.
The one thing to be careful of, and Chris will bang on about this as well, is don't do too many links or anchor text links, which is what this is, of exactly the same text, because it looks deliberate. So you need to think about linking on different words or slightly different phrases, shortened versions, variations of that keyword. I would say no more than 50% really of them should be your exact match, and everything else should be variations. But you just got to try and make it look natural. So you've got life coaching here, life coaches, that's another way of doing it. You could have just something in here that says find out more about my life coaching, and you could link the whole thing. Sometimes you can, in a few cases, just have click here as a link. I prefer not to do that, but that adds variety. So that could be worth doing as a next action.
Okay.
So is there one more thing that you've done on your website that you found has really boosted things? Because you've added a load more content to it.
Yeah, honestly, there's so much I got from the workshop. Another thing that I'd wanted to do actually was to, you talked about video. So I hadn't actually created any particular video for my website, but I did have quite an active Instagram account where there were videos, and the two weren't really linked together. I remember you talking about how you can use Instagram to kind of drive traffic to the website and vice versa. So I embedded Instagram onto my life coaching page.
Where is this? So where can we find this?
So if you go back up to the menu and then hit life coaching, that one there, and then scroll down, it should have my latest Instagram posts and reels coming up.
That's great. So you're starting to bring, because obviously you're creating more content on Instagram that can be brought through. So that's really good. Have you got an example? Could we actually click through to Instagram on here? If I click on one of these.
Yeah.
Here we are.
If you go back actually, and
I've got to log in, and I actually can't remember my darn Instagram and Facebook. They force you to log in now, and I can't. I'm not going to go through the process of doing a password reset. That's going to be really boring as a video. But let's just go through an example. If you've got one of your videos, having it on Instagram is good, and linking through to it and bring it onto here would be good. But I would also recommend trying to put that onto YouTube as well.
Okay.
Particularly, you don't need to do it for all of them, but it might be there's a really good video you could do that's an explainer, maybe that let's see, you've got this one. What does a life coach actually do? There's no reason why you couldn't do that in video. And then I would recommend having that video, maybe replace this image or move it further down and put a video in there of you basically running through this blog post. Okay. You could do that, and that goes on Instagram, but it also goes on YouTube as well. And then you embed that on here. And that gives you another avenue, because now people who are on YouTube might search it, or people on Google, Google might surface a YouTube video as the most appropriate answer to that question rather than the blog post. So you've got two different extra avenues there.
That's a great idea. Write that one down. Thank you.
The only thing I say is that a lot of people will have vertical video on Instagram or TikTok, and that works obviously really well on those platforms. But when you're looking at a website and you've got a big portrait video, it takes up a huge amount of space, and it's really awkward on a website. So I wonder if it would be possible to do either a square video or a dedicated video, which is a landscape video for the website. Maybe you have to do it twice, once for Instagram, once for your website. Or if you're clever, you do one video, which you can crop it differently for the different platforms. But I would, if you can get a nice landscape video of you talking through it, the benefit is not only is that possibly going to improve your optimization, people get to meet you. And then I would probably say, if that works out well, then bring that video also onto the homepage as well, so people can get to meet you on the homepage, and it really strengthens that up. And it's not counted as duplicate content, because you're just embedding that video. It's one video, but you're embedding it in two different places. That's totally fine. So that could be a good next step.
I did notice, actually, from doing the competitor research, that a lot of other coaches do have videos that seem to spring up more or less straight away. And actually, that's really important, because the main part of choosing a coach is feeling like you have a good connection. And I think you can get that much more from hearing somebody and seeing someone on a video than you can from just a picture.
Yes, I think, well, some people aren't going to be bothered by that, but I think if you're doing it for SEO, then you get that benefit. But for the people who really want to meet you, first of all, that could, it might be you getting lots of people coming to your website, and you're just going to tip a few more people over the edge. It's going to help a small percentage call you, because they go, yes, I like this person. I'm going to connect with Abby. So let's start wrapping up, because we're coming up to the hour. First of all, what are the next actions? What are you gonna? What are the next things you're going to do to improve your search optimization? You've talked about video, maybe expanding out the regions and creating other pages. What else could you do? Is there anything that was on the list that you would love to do, but it's just hard work, and you're like, I'll leave that to later?
I think let me just plug in. So yeah, the thing with a video is my next challenge, really. So that's on my list as the next thing to do, to add that in, to continue with the blog. So I really enjoy writing the blog, and there
brilliant.
are so many ideas that I've got now, thanks to searching up those keywords. So yeah, it's just something that you have to, I think, tie into your tasks. So just as you would do your client work and writing up notes or keeping track of expenses, doing your account sheet, I think SEO has to become a weekly part of that, and just kind of factoring in some time to do those things, so that it's an ongoing process and it becomes a routine and a habit. That's what I would like to achieve, really, just to make sure that it's something that I'm onto all the time, as I am for other parts of my business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's good you say that, actually, because a lot of people think that SEO is a sort of a project and then it's done, and it's not. It's ongoing, because if nothing else, your competitors will be likely doing some work themselves, and so Google will obviously be shifting around the rankings, so you need to keep up with that. And also, I think if you're talking about you writing more blogs for the website, that's really useful for social media and actually having things on social media. Oh, Abby's actually disappeared. So did your battery die, Abby? You just disappeared off.
Yes, it did. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No, back on your phone. It's all right. We're going to finish now anyway. I just want to sort of round off by talking about, is there any other things that you would, some advice you would give to other people who are looking to do search engine optimization? You had very, very good first point, build that time into your work diary. What other things would you say to people?
I would just recommend either directly coming to somebody like you, an expert, doing a workshop. The one that I did through Core Ventures with yourself was brilliant. But just as you would do anything really, finding out what the process is, because there is a very a simple process to follow, and I think I just thought it's so complex, I'm never going to be able to understand it, so I've been kind of avoiding it, but actually it is possible to learn that process, and maybe not to do everything. I'm not saying I'm now an expert after doing a 2-hour workshop.
You can come and work with us, Abby.
But I was surprised at how I was able to understand it, and just to go through that process, and to understand a little bit about how it works. I think, you know, anybody could do that. You don't have to be an expert to be able to understand it, and you don't have to do it all at once. It is quite time consuming, and you can spend hours, you know, tinkering and getting into it. And I personally found it really, really interesting, which again surprised me because I didn't really think that I would. But yeah, so definitely, you know, give it a go, get some help, get some expertise, but don't be afraid of it, really, would be my advice. And I think you'll surprise yourself with how much you can learn.
Cool. So where people can find you, I'll sort of read out the website, although people have had a good look, and we'll make sure it's in the show notes, but it's abigailjanecoaching.com. Or if you want to do Abby a favor and help boost her SEO, just do a Google search for Bristol Life Coach and click on her link, and that will help reinforce her position, maybe move her up even a few more points. But I think you've done a great job. I mean, I really appreciate you sort of letting me know, because so many people will come on a workshop and, you know, you don't hear from them again. And it's really nice to hear that what I actually do talk about hasn't bored people to death, but it's actually worked and done the job it's meant to do. So thank you very much for letting me know that, and for sharing this with everyone. I do appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It really has changed things. So yeah, it's been great.
Cool. Well, I look forward to the next update. You know, do let me know once you reach position number 1. Maybe we'll have a little celebration. So we're here every Friday from 10 a.m. We cover everything in marketing, strategy, social, SEO, definitely. In fact, it's a bit of an SEO month this month, video and more. If you've got something exciting to share, just like Abby, let me know. So we'd love to have you come on and talk about it. Claire, how are you doing, Claire? Sat in the background. Claire, do you want to tell us what's coming up next time?
So next week, we're joined by 2 separate businesses who are going to join us on our Open Club webinar, where we will drill through and look at their websites and give them some SEO tips and advice. So hopefully they'll be following Abby's footsteps. Yeah,
that'd be good, won't it? Brilliant. Thanks, Claire. And if you at any point want to invite anyone to these Zoom meetings, or you want to you know someone who needs a little bit of extra help, just share your Zoom link. Feel free to do that. The only thing I ask is just let us know, let Claire know, email support@ratherinventive.com, just so we can welcome them, find out who they are, and make sure they fit in. Don't forget, you can catch up on our previous webinars on the website, ratherinventive.com, sign in to your account there, and you can see everything we published over the last 3 years, 4 years now or so. And for those still on Basecamp, it's still available there, or although we'll be nudging you off gradually. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.